Have you ever wondered how games are able to render seemingly the entire game world when you stand on top of a high mountain or jump off a bus with a hot air balloon attached to it? Well, today we're going to be uncovering the secret world of LOD. Video games have been using a secret technique called level of detail, short LOD, for more than 40 years to improve performance and avoid lag. One of the first instances that uses LOD was a 3D arcade game called iRobot, which was developed by Dave Teurer and published in 1983 by Atari. iRobot is a game based on George Orwell's roman with the name 1984, where you take control of Interface Robot and try to eliminate his enemy, Big Brother, alongside his evil eyes. Despite its commercial failure, iRobot still was a masterpiece, programmatically speaking. It was the world's first game to use 3D polygons for each element of the game. Because of this technical innovation of true 3D polygon rendering, of course, there were some hardware limitations. By using this technique, Teurer was able to significantly reduce the poly count so the gaming system would have to do less work. But what did Teurer actually do to improve performance? Well, let's take a look at this simple principle that he took advantage of. You know, if a game object is further away from the camera, it usually appears smaller on the screen and thus is composed of less pixels. This is a thing we can actually take advantage of. If the object is composed of less pixels, we can decrease the amount of polygons of the object without losing much detail. So, this means that when a game object is further away from the camera, we can lower the amount of polygons. Now, the computer has to do less computation on rendering these polygons and calculating their positions and other attributes. By creating multiple versions of a mesh with different poly counts, we can simply blend between them based on the object's distance to the camera. By the way, the official term for these lower poly meshes is imposter. However, games usually make LOD a little bit more obvious. Normally, a lot of the action takes place right in front of the camera, and during gameplay, the player probably won't notice the changing of meshes unless they're really searching for it. With that in mind, when you look more closely at iRobot, you can notice that this effect actually takes place here as well. At a distance, when the objects would appear, there would simply be a round 2D looking shape, but when the player closes in, the objects get replaced by higher detailed 3D spheres. If you yourself create your own games, you can easily apply this concept in game engines like Unity by following these 4 simple steps. First, you need to create your model. Right now I'm using Blender with a simple tree model. Second, you need to duplicate this and apply a decimate modifier to create a lower poly imposter. You can repeat this step as many times with different amounts of detail as you like. Third, name each of your objects like I do with a mesh with the highest detail starting at index 0, and the less detail you have, the more the index increases. Fourth, just simply export to FBX and drop your file into Unity. Unity will do all of the rest of the work for you, and you can adjust the distance at which the different LODs should appear now. A very similar workflow can be found in Unreal Engine and many other game engines. So, to quickly summarize what LOD is. LOD is a method used in most 3D games to save huge amounts of performance. By taking advantage of the fact that objects further away from the camera can be displayed at full resolution, we can render these at a lower resolution. I really hope you enjoyed this video. You are free to leave a comment if you got any questions about this topic. I will give my best to give a clear answer to you. If you'd like to know more about how video games work behind the scene, please consider subscribing, as I will be covering here more on that. This way you won't miss out on a new video by me. And until then, take care!